Oh, it's a beautiful Friday. Welcome into the Coach and Company podcast, which we do immediately after the morning show live on the Stadium Network. So, wherever you consume our content at BTT Studios, thank you very much. Easiest thing to do is follow both of our YouTube pages over at BTT or at Coach and Company, as we have separated our betting content from our pro wrestling content. I am the coach, and I run this ship around here. My right-hand producer, man, always behind the scenes. And I got the best damn crew in the business. If you missed any of the morning show, you can always watch it back on demand on our Coach and Company YouTube page. Now, on this particular podcast, it's not betting. We get into sports topics that are more fun to talk about. Because to me, sports betting is fun, but sports talk is even more fun. So that's why we started the podcast, to support the morning show. And if you just want the audio while you're driving around every single day, hey, courtesy of Believe, we're on every single podcast platform that there is. So, topic number one. And I lived in Stamford, Connecticut for damn near 10 years when I was in the WWE. It's a 42-minute train ride from New York City. My last 2 years, I was desperately trying to get out. I had traveled 52 weeks a year for 7 to 8 years, and I was over it. So I started working at MSG Network, and I got very lucky to get that job to kind of help me into what I called the real world. So I had the honor of getting to do halftime shows, pregame shows for the New York Knicks, learning about the Rangers and hockey from the great Al Troutwig, who just recently passed away. I don't care what anybody says. Madison Square Garden and a Friday night in New York City is literally the best thing that you can do. Now, tonight, we could have perhaps the greatest night of 2025 in the Big Apple. Because in addition to the Celtics and the Knicks game 6, you've got across town Bronx, Mets, Yankees, Mr. Jose going back for the first time to face the team that he turned down the over $700 million to go to the Mets. I thought it was bananas at the time, but when you're talking about over $700 million, you're kind of splitting hairs. And maybe he just wanted to play for the Mets. Now, how you turn down becoming a legacy at the New York Yankees, I think there's something more to that. I think he didn't like playing in the shadow of Aaron Judge, but I would have gotten over it real quick because I think the Yankees are going to continue to, as long as Aaron Judge is there, be a pretender. So my question to all of you watching live right now, if you had somebody standing there with 2 tickets, one to the Celtics Knicks, one to the Mets and the Yankees, which one would you take? Which one would you want? Think about the atmosphere tonight at Madison Square Garden. Spike Lee 1000% will be in his seats tonight. And all of a sudden, you can start to feel the momentum in New York City when you see all of the former Knicks starting to show up for games. Stephon Marbury right there going absolutely bananas. And there is just a plethora of other great Knicks that are showing up because this is exciting. Zeno said it on the morning show today. This is the biggest game for the Knicks at the Garden in a quarter century. That's not hype. That's fact. Now, the Celtics proved in game number 5 that they actually play really, really well without Jason Tatum in the lineup. Not every team does that without their resident superstar. Golden State couldn't do it. So they beat the Knicks by 25 points in game number 5. They're down 3-2. So now they've got to take that on the road. Will Derek White go north of 30 again? Will Jaylen Brown step up and be the star they need him to be? Will Peyton Pritchard, 6th man of the year, will he have a big night? The big question for me is the sickness that is Christian Porzingis or Kristaps Porzingis, will that be gone? He's been playing very limited minutes, 10 to 12 minutes, and scoring a point twice. How do you score a point twice? That's very, very difficult to do. Not make one bucket, but make one free throw. They need him. They need an inside presence. I hate it for Jason Tatum, but the game must go on. And when you look at 11-2 11-2 are the Celtics without Jason Tatum. That's how good they have been. So tonight is anything but a walkover for the Celtics. But the atmosphere is going to be amazing. The Knicks are 2.5-point favorites, 3-point favorites, depending on which book you look at. And remember, the last time the Celtics came, they were 5-point favorites with Tatum in the lineup. So is Jason Tatum really worth 8 points? Is he really worth 7 points? Flip side, if you take the Mets-Yankees ticket. Right now, when you look at everything going on, because I'll be honest with you, I've been so into the NHL playoffs and the NBA playoffs, I haven't really paid a lot of attention to baseball yet. I got a crew for that. And right now, the Yankees are in first place at 25-18. The Mets have a better record, 28-16, also in first place. So this Subway Series has even more heat on it. So it's really hard to say to your new star in the face of your team, hey, you should have stayed with the Yankees, which I just said 3 minutes ago. It's really hard to convince him that at 28-16 that he didn't make the right decision. But now, tonight, all eyes on the Mets and the Yankees. For me, this would be an easy decision. But what about you? Would you take the ticket, go to the Yankees, or would you go watch the Celtics and the Knicks? And tonight, when I'm talking about the Celtics and the Knicks, there's a lot of different plays we had on the morning show today. I encourage you to go back, take the time, go back, and at least look at the best bets. But right now, as the lines continue to move at BetMGM, it's still at 2.5. And when you're looking at certain players, Jaylen Brown has the highest point total of anybody in this game at 25.5. Cat, 20.5. Derek White, 20.5. And right now at BetMGM, you can't even get Brunson until his status and what he's all about comes out later this afternoon. I encourage you to watch Weekend Wagers for that. Injuries. Have you ever seen an NBA playoffs that have been more dictated by injuries than what we've seen in the last 2 weeks? Jason Tatum, torn Achilles. And it's more than just him missing this series and the rest of the season. When you tear your Achilles in April or May, there's a very good chance you're missing the entirety of the next season. So it's almost like 2 years when you're looking at the consequences. And that sucks for him. It sucks for Celtics fans, and it sucks for NBA fans. Steph Curry, hamstring injury. Who would have ever thought that? Watching how devastated he was, how much he wanted to play, how good they thought this Warrior teams could be with him in the lineup. Timberwolves said, hold my beer. But the rest of the Warriors, Steve Kerr, they believe that they would have challenged for the NBA title. I don't. But it would have been a much better series with the Timberwolves if he would have been in the game. The Cavs knocked out number 1 seed. You got 2, 3, 4 of your top players that couldn't even play the entire series. So you're seeing my points. That right now, NBA, it's about getting the job done as fast as you possibly can. The Knicks do not want to go back to Boston, play a Game 7, and risk any of their guys, especially Mr. Brunson, with an injury that would take him out of the next series and the rest of the playoffs. That's a very real concern right now. And on the flip side, you've got Game 7, the Nuggets staving off elimination against the Thunder. Now going back to Oklahoma City on Sunday for the 2 greatest words in all of sports. And that, of course, is Game 7. All the cards are on the table. All of these young Thunder players will have to see what they are made out of. When the lights are the brightest, when the nerves are at a fever pitch, how do you respond? How do you get the job done? Because right now over at BetMGM, the Thunder, for a Game 7, a pretty big favorite at 7.5. And Raphael, my numbers guy, says this will go up in all likelihood to 8 or maybe even 8.5 by the time we get to Sunday and this game. I think the Nuggets are very much in play, not just to cover, but to win this game. They nearly had game 5 in the bag. They had the lead late and couldn't finish. They should have won that game, and this series should be over. But that's why you play 48 minutes. And right now, if I'm the Nuggets, despite having a head coach who has very little head coaching experience, this guy, his dad was a great head coach, and he's been on that bench for a while. And you've got players who have won an NBA championship with Denver. They understand what it takes. We saw it last night. Jokic, Jamal Murray, fantastic. And then you had a lot of the, well, let's call them bench players, players that we don't talk about a lot. Last night went bananas. Tell me this, Strother. Can you name his first name? That's how little known this guy is. Julian Strother. Did you know his first name? 15 points last night in 19 minutes. He was the difference. Not Jokic with 29, 14, and 8. Not Jamal Murray, 25, 8, and 7, who was sick all day long. It was Julian Strother who was the difference maker at 15 points. Mr. Braun, who we talked yesterday, his number was 8.5 at BetMGM. He scored 23. 23. It's about the role players. So how will the Thunder react? How will the Nuggets react? Well, we saw how the Nuggets reacted. They had to trust Brown. They had to trust Strother. Anybody else have a big game? Porter only had 10. And right now, Russell Westbrook, I think they're figuring out he needs to be on the court as little as possible. 16 minutes is all he played in game number 6. 8 points, 3 rebounds. His number has fallen all the way down to 7.5 if you want to bet it. Strother played 3 more minutes than Westbrook played. Think about that. You've got to make adjustments as you're on the fly. You have to make adjustments as you're going through the series. And now I think the Nuggets have figured that out. So I think we're going to see a lot of the same. They only played 8 players last night. Only 8 deep. And Aaron Gordon went straight to an MRI. He's got an issue. I believe it's a hamstring. So if you think the Thunder are the play, you should play them right now, because if Aaron Gordon is ruled out, that number will only go up. He's been a very good player. Played 38 minutes last night, only scored 5 points, did have 7 rebounds, did have 7 assists, but he's been a vital part to their success in this series. Remember, he hit the game winner. Game 2, game 3, one of those, with that long 3, the nice dish from Russell Westbrook. You are watching Coach and Company, or listening to Coach and Company, the podcast. We are here every single weekday, as long as I'm not traveling. And as you guys know, we're very, very busy here at the brand. And can I just say for a second, as we're taping this on a Friday, that we've been going now since January with this brand. And I think as the media evolves and as brands evolve, what we've done and what we're doing is incredibly exciting. And it's also a grind, because getting a brand to catch on in this crazy world right now is very, very difficult to do. But we have put together a really good team. We've put together an incredible producer that runs this whole thing. And also, we've partnered with really good platforms that understand collaboration is where it's at. And you're starting to see the same thing with these major sports organizations as they realize, I don't need to spend all this money over here if I can collaborate over here and get the same kind of attention. And that's kind of our philosophy here at Coach and Company, at Coach and Bro, at BTT. We brand everything, but you guys are finding us slowly but surely. Our numbers every single day are increasing. So thank you for that. We want really smart, intelligent, fun content. So if you ever have any feedback or anything that you would like, whether it's here on the podcast or on our daily national show, please let me know. And by the way, in less than 2 weeks, the Coach and Bro Show, for all of you wrestling fans out there, we will be debuting that day, Wednesday, May 28th, on Stadium as well, twice a day. So we are going to be everywhere. We love Stadium. We love the partnership, and we're just getting started. All right. Topic number 2. And remember, we never go longer than 20 or 30 minutes here on the podcast. A lot of NFL news this week. And yesterday, kind of surprising. I don't know why, but it is, that the NFL, as they released their schedule, admitted that the Aaron Rodgers topic played into the schedule being made. And I don't remember the exact week. It's week 3 or week 4, but the Steelers are playing at the New York Jets. And for those of you that don't know how the schedule is done, you play the 3 teams in your division twice. That accounts for 6 games. Then you got to play a full 3 games against an NFC or AFC, an opposite conference schedule. That's 3 more, so that's 9. And then you go against whatever team. So if you're a first place team, you play a first place schedule. That's what made what Tom Brady did so incredible. That all those years that they won the AFC East, they then had to play Peyton Manning because Peyton Manning was winning the AFC South with Indianapolis or was doing well in Denver. That's how they matched up so many times. And most people don't know that that's how they do the schedule. So when you admit that a Steelers Jets game and putting the schedule together was affected by Aaron Rodgers, I don't know if I like it or if I think that it's sad. You guys know me. This week's been all about star power. That's been the theme of a lot of our shows this week. And Aaron Rodgers, no doubt about it, he is a star. He's also north of the age of 40. And right now, as hard as it is, because right now I'm going through it, that a lot of my favorite players are ending their careers. I went through it when MJ ended his career in the 2000s. That really hurt. And people who don't understand sports or fandom don't understand being attached to your favorite player in whatever sport it is. I played college basketball. It's my favorite sport. Golf's my second favorite sport now. MJ was my favorite athlete as I was in high school and college in the 90s. That literally could do no wrong in my eyes. Every Sunday was can't miss Bulls basketball. So when you have a player who is 40 plus, no matter how big of a name he is, you simply cannot plan things around that. Because here's the issue: Aaron Rodgers isn't even on a team yet. Rumors are he will end up going to Pittsburgh, but what's taking them so long? We were talking about this 2 months ago. We were talking about this at the draft. It's now after the draft, and Aaron Rodgers, you said on the Pat McAfee show, I'm not going to have anybody control my timing on when I decide to sign with a team. As if he's a 28-year-old free agent and he has 22 teams knocking down his door. And then you got the Saints situation. Derek Carr, how bad was that injury that he has to retire over it? There are certain players, and this has happened, that have a slight injury or they can't quite decide if they want to keep playing. And obviously Derek Carr is a man of faith. He's, from everything I've heard, a good dude. And when you have money on the table in any sport and you want them to make you or you want them to cut you, you don't want to make the decision. And maybe they made a financial settlement behind closed doors. But if I had 20, 30, 40 million dollars on the table, I would at least make them cut me. So then I can still get what I'm owed in guaranteed money. And I haven't done enough of a deep dive to know what guarantees he had left. But for him to retire like that shows you how bad the entire situation was. So for Aaron Rodgers, now he's got 2 places. He doesn't have 32 places. He has 2 places: Pittsburgh and the Saints. So if you're the NFL and you're looking at it, you're going, we're gonna move our schedule. We got the Chiefs, we got the Eagles, we got the Ravens, we got the Bills, you got all these great storylines, and you're gonna allow Aaron Rodgers to affect any of your thought process at all. We deal with that right now in the PFL because in fighting, as hard as it is, when your favorite fighters start to get a little bit older, they normally fall off a cliff. There's very few Randy Coutures out there that can fight and be successful into their 40s. The NFL is the exact same thing. Tom Brady is the GOAT for a reason. Part of the GOATness is the fact that he played until he was 45 years old and added a Super Bowl north of the age of 40. If we watched Aaron Rodgers the last 2 seasons, what do we see? Torn Achilles on the 4th play, came back, could not move. Achilles are the worst injury for a quick twitch position in sports. That's why basketball players normally don't get their quickness back. That's why a quarterback normally doesn't get his quickness back. And last year, Aaron Rodgers couldn't run away from anybody. It was evident, it was obvious. He's a unicorn, he's unique. He has mastered the art of making people wait and enjoying it. And we've all just bought into it every single time. Shout out to Pat McAfee, by the way. He continues to defy all of them and do whatever he wants to do. And make no mistake about it, every talent out there, including myself, wishes that they could sign a deal where basically you can do whatever you want. He has changed the game for some. No doubt about it. Indirectly, he's helped shows like ours, brands like ours, where networks, when I was at ESPN, the thought of bringing in a show with outside talent to the ESPN platform was unheard of. Never happened. You had to be an ESPN show in order for that to happen. Well, now think about it, how all of that has changed. They just announced that the Rich Eisen show is going to be available exclusively on that new $29.99 app. That's $1 million a year plus salary for Rich Eisen on an app. And when you get into your 50s and 60s, because 20 years ago, if you would have told Stuart Scott, God rest his soul, who was best friends and partners with Rich Eisen, hey, in 20 years, you're only going to be on an app. They would say, no way, hell no, I got to be on the big ESPN and all that. Think about how things have changed. You get into your 50s and 60s, you're just caring about, hey, does the paycheck stay the same or go up? Am I still getting paid a bunch of money to talk about sports? Yep. Then I don't give a damn where it airs. It's going to be very interesting to see how ESPN does with a $29.99 price tag. And I'm thinking that maybe they need an extra sports and sports betting brand to put up on that app. Who knows? Maybe I'll make a call. Other NFL news as well. And this one isn't quite as exciting as the schedules, but it is interesting. As sports franchises, specifically in the NFL, they continue to increase. They continue to get bigger and more valuable and more expensive. So there's a thing called evaluation, where if you're going to sell your team, you bring somebody in to see how much your team is worth. Well, the York family owns the San Francisco 49ers. They have been great for the last 3 or 5 years, but haven't been able to get it done and get to the promised land like the Eagles and the Chiefs have. So they have kind of busted up the team, even though they had a great core with Brock Purdy and George Kittle and Debo and all these guys. They had injuries. You've had trades, and now it's a completely different world. So for whatever reason, the York family is looking to sell off about 6% of the team to 3 different families who apparently have continued to call the last couple of years because they want to be involved. So the valuation had the San Francisco 49ers, get this, at $8.5 billion. Billion. Years ago, last time I even talked about this, I think, the Cowboys were valued at $5 billion. And that was crazy. Years ago, the Clippers sold for $2 billion in the NBA, and people went bananas. A month ago, the Celtics, they sold for $6 billion, and people went crazy. So now for the NFL, which is much more popular than the NBA, and everything is, the revenue's much higher. Collectively, the salaries are much higher. NBA, you only have to pay 12 guys, and you got a few that can make up to $70 million a year. Most are in that 50 to 60 category. NFL's the same thing, but you've got 50 some odd players you got to pay over there. Revenue's much higher. So it makes sense that these big brands like the 49ers, like the Cowboys, like the Steelers, like the Packers are now getting valued at more than the Boston Celtics. $8 billion. So when Jerry Jones, who knows how much time he's going to have left as an active NFL owner, when he goes to sell, or if he decides not to give the team to his kids, how much are the Cowboys going to be valued at? 10 billion? Possible. For some reason, despite their lack of success, the Cowboys continue to be the most popular brand in United States sports. And I continue to not be able to figure it out. But that's how loyal not only Midwestern people are, but people across the country. It's not close. It's the Cowboys, it's the Steelers, it's the Packers. And then the 49ers in my mind. $8.5 billion. All right, I want everybody to have a great weekend. A reminder, set your notifications for all of our BTT shows. Coach and Company every weekday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. Coach and Bro, the Mondays and Thursdays at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. And the last word, as soon as Monday Night Raw is over, me, Big Tommy, Gabby, live on our YouTube page with a full recap of Monday Night Raw. Also, our fourth show right here on our Coach and Company YouTube page, weekday wagers Monday through Thursday, then weekend wagers on Friday, start time 2 p.m. Eastern Time. That'll do it for now. I am the coach. For producer man behind the scenes, have a great weekend. This has been, and there's only one, the Coach and Company, the podcast. Take care.